Hey everyone, welcome in. Happy Friday. Hope you guys are doing well. Those of you that are new to my channel, welcome in. My name is Mom of Three, or I'm Mom of Three. I want to thank every single person who chooses to click on this live tonight. I know there are a lot of things people could be watching right now, so I don't take that lightly, and if you're catching this on the replay, thank you. This is a heavy live. This isn't just gossip. This isn't drama. This is about a real woman. Not sure if you guys have heard about it. Um, yeah, but it's all over, and I just found it interesting, so I decided why not talk about it. I like to talk about people that are missing and things like that. But when I first saw this, trending topic, it was a missing person. And unfortunately, it has changed over the last 24 hours. So I just wanted to talk about it. This, like I said, this is a real woman, a real mother, and a real family whose lives have been changed forever. Hey K Money, haven't seen you in a while. How you doing? How you doing? Welcome in. But as you're coming in, if you could please hit that like button, it really does help get this story in front of more people. It helps me with my algorithm. It helps me get in an algorithm and more people to come. You guys know that I am trying to grow my own community. So I would like to see, different people, more people, of course, the same people. But I would like to grow and just start seeing more and more people, every day. And I would love for you guys to actually hit that notification bell so you could come back every time I go live or I post a video or something. And always, drop a comment so I know that you're there. Hey Lily. K Money, what you doing? What's going on? I haven't seen you around in the streets. I haven't seen you in these YouTube streets for a minute. I hope you're doing well though. Happy holidays. Hey Lily sis. No problem. At least you're doing it. I'm lazy. um Please double tap that screen, guys. Double tap that screen as you're coming in. It, like I said, it really does help. And if you're new here, I want you to know this channel is a space where we talk about real life, real issues, and real people with respect, of course, always with respect. you know this is the first time I'm bringing this case to you guys. So I'm going to start from the beginning of what I know and what I've heard and what I've read and walk through everything very carefully. This is about a woman, Frezja Baker. She is from Charlotte, North Carolina. She was reported missing a few days ago, but unfortunately, her car was found yesterday with a body inside, and they have confirmed that it was her that was found. But first, I want to be clear about how I cover stories like this. We stick to confirmed information, we don't speculate. Hey, MMG. Happy Friday, sis. Thanks for joining. So I try to stick with confirmed information. I'm not the type that, speculates falsely just to gain engagement and stuff like that. I rather stick to the facts. And if you don't like it, that's your right. Everybody has what they like and what they don't like, and I rather stick to the facts. But please double tap that screen for me. Like I said, it does help me in the algorithm. So yeah, I don't like to speculate. I don't like to accuse. And of course, I always lead with compassion, you know, because these are real people, not just topics. So if that's the kind of content you appreciate, thoughtful, respectful, and honest, then you're in the right place. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. So who was Frezja Baker? Her name is Frezja Matisse Baker. She was 31 years old from Charlotte. She was a mother to a young child, a daughter, a sister, someone who had responsibilities, routines, and people who depended on her. And I want to pause here because too often we rush past this part. We jump straight to tragedy and forget the person. She isn't just a headline. She wasn't just a headline. She wasn't just a case. She was a human being. So if this were someone you loved, how would you want their story told? So let's talk about December 4th, the last day Frezja was seen. And I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name right, but I hope I am. Um, that day looked normal, you know. She dropped her child off with her grandparents and parents in the chat. You already know that why that detail matters. A mother does not just walk away from her child most of the time. Not a sane mother, at least, you know. Her family has said clearly that she would never leave voluntarily. Yes, thank you, thank you. Please hit that like button. Yes, Lily says she would like the real story to be told, not assumptions or half stories. MMG said, drop your thoughts in the chat and let's discuss. Yes, please drop your thoughts in the chat. Let me know if this is the first time you have heard this story. And also let me know where you're watching from. So, yeah, so they said that she would never leave voluntarily, that this was definitely not like her. She was a very responsible mom that always kept, in communication with her family, especially when she, dropped off her child. So, the last contact was later that night of December 4th, around 10:30 p.m. Frezja spoke with her brother. She told him that she was about an hour away. Yeah, an hour away, and that she was heading home. And those words really stick with me. How many times have we all said that? I'm almost home. I'll be there soon. I'll be right there, you know? But then she never arrived. Never arrived after saying that she was only an hour away. She was on her way to her baby. She was on her way, She had all the intentions to make it back home. So what happened? That's what everybody's asking now. What happened? You know? That's the moment everything changed. At first, the family tried to rationalize it. Maybe the phone died. Maybe plans changed. Maybe somebody called her and she decided to take a detour. But, as family, your body feels it. Your body feels that something is wrong, That waiting, that not knowing, you know you I know her family had to be besides themselves to know that they got the call saying that she was almost there, that she had all intentions to be on her way, that she was on her way. I couldn't imagine having my son, you know call and say, oh, I'll be there in an hour, and then never show up, especially when his child is in the house. right away, I would feel like something went wrong. So at the time Frezja went missing, she was driving a gray blue 2004 Honda Accord. She was last seen wearing a black long sleeve Panthers shirt and dark leggings. These details were shared because her family was trying to retrace her steps. They were looking for answers like all of us would be. So for days, there were no answers. No phone calls, no texts, no sightings. Her family reported her missing. Photos of her were shared everywhere. The community searched, hoping someone had seen something. Someone had to see something, right? I don't think people understand how painful waiting is. Every phone call makes you jump, your heart jump. Every notification feels heavy. You're just waiting for the worst or expecting the worst, in a situation like that. Your child goes missing, your sibling goes missing, just any family member goes missing. I know that as soon as that phone rings, your freaking heart has to be almost popping out your chest. You don't even want to answer it, but of course you're gonna answer it because you want to know answers. You want those answers. Where's Frezja? Where's Frezja? Is this Frezja calling finally? No family deserves to live in that space. So on December 11th, CMPD responded to a call in West Charlotte near Sanders Avenue and Campus Street behind an abandoned church. And I want us, to pause on that detail. Behind an abandoned church.
Why do you say
That
why you
alone
put
is haunting.
finger on your nose?
That alone is haunting. So that behind an abandoned church, you know, police found a vehicle. Inside that vehicle was an unresponsive woman. She was pronounced deceased at the scene, and authorities later confirmed that the woman found was unfortunately Frezja Baker. It was her. Unfortunately, she was found unresponsive and deceased. She was found inside her home. Inside her car, sorry. She was found inside her own car. Hey, Healwood Tree, welcome in, welcome in. Talking about the missing mom from Charlotte, Frezja Baker. Unfortunately, she was found deceased at the scene inside her car. You know, she was found inside her own car, the same Honda Accord she was last seen driving. So CMPD has classified this case as a homicide investigation. So that word matters. It means this was not an accident. It means something happened to her. At this time, police have not released a cause of death and no arrests have been made. This is an ongoing active investigation. So you guys know that I'll be paying attention to this so I could definitely give you guys updates, you know? So this is the phone call, families never recover from. No amount of time prepares you for this kind of loss. As a mother myself, this hits me deeply. It makes you, want to hold your kids tighter. It makes you really question makes you question how fragile life is and how short life is. You know, your kid goes to work drops their kid off, thinking that it's just another regular work day, and then for your child never to come back is just crazy to me. And I'm tired of all these missing people lately, and then they come up missing. It's like, what deterred her? Who was she with? You know? Why? Why does this keep happening? Why? You know? Hey, Ria. Hope your day was great as well. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So they say her family and friends have told local reporters that that Frezja was last seen with a man they describe as an associate. So yeah, sorry guys. So yeah, they said that they described him as an associate the night she disappeared. Some witnesses also claimed there was an argument between them that evening. But police have not officially confirmed the identity of the man she was reportedly with. They don't know his name. They don't know how he was involved, if he was involved in her disappearance or death. They do not know that. They just know that that was the last person she was with, and where she was found is actually near where he is from, unfortunately. But I definitely will, be keeping up with this case because I know we all want to know what happened, who's this person of interest, what led to her being deterred from being on her way to her son, you know? So that information about the man and how he might be involved has not been released yet. But I am waiting to see, a press release or any news updates to let us know about who the man was. I want to put a name, you know, to this associate so we can be aware of who this man is, you know. Everything I say is, opinion based. It is covered by the Copyright Act, and everything I say is based on, my research, and it's just commentary and opinion. You said he, MMG said he did it. We don't even know who the man is. We just know he did it. I mean, it's not funny, but usually that is what happens. That usually is the outcome. You know, that is usually the outcome. But they're just saying that he's an acquaintance and an associate. Psst, you know, I don't know. She, I just don't understand. But them saying that she had an argument with him, that she was had an argument with him. Obviously, they probably know more than what they're letting us know right now. You know, because how do they even know that they had an argument? So that alone tells me that there's more to this than we know right now. But of course, it just happened. They just found her. So of course they have to keep everything, a little bit quiet so they could continue their investigation because they need to know the fact. They need to find those facts before they release anything to the public because when it comes to a homicide investigation, it has to be based on facts, not he say she say, not speculation. It has to be facts. So whoever this person is, they're innocent until proven guilty. So I'm sure they're looking at the scene, They're looking at their scene. They're probably looking into her phone to see if any phone calls or text messages between her and whoever, you know, to find out exactly what happened to this poor mother, you know. But think about it. It's what, 2 weeks before Christmas, and now her family has to grieve the loss of their family member. Her son has to grieve the loss of his mother. Sorry, guys. When you hear a mute, it's because sirens. So, so yeah. So this time of the year will never be the same again for that family. For Frezja Baker's family, it will never be the same. You know. So if you're just joining, welcome. We're talking about Frezja Baker. Um, she was a mother from Charlotte that she went missing earlier this month, and unfortunately, she was found unalived in her car, in her own car. Just I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. I believe it was yesterday though. Um, but yeah, so she was found unalived, and there's not there's somebody that they think that has something to do with it, but they're not sure yet. So I'm sure we'll more know more soon. Let me see. I think I have. Let's see. We could put a name to her face. Yeah. Well, she is on my. But look how beautiful. You know, she's a beautiful girl, beautiful woman. She was a beautiful woman. Oop, not that beautiful woman. I didn't want you guys to see my beautiful self. No. But nah, she's a beautiful, she was a beautiful woman. And unfortunately, she lost her life on her way home to pick up her child, you know? So let me know, guys, if you guys have heard about this story, or is it your first time? Have you been following it? What we know is the timeline. What we don't know yet are the details of what happened to her exactly. Of course, it takes a little minute for the medical examiner to do their job. So happen. And I know that it's frustrating, but investigations, they have to move carefully for a reason. And I want to say this clearly and respectfully. Speculation does not bring justice. It can hurt families, and it also can interfere with investigations. So I rather wait for the facts. I'm not going to speculate. I mean, she did had an argument with a gentleman. She did have an argument with some guy. We don't know who the guy is yet, but you know, of course, it was probably some man who she probably, was giving to her time, who she was once giving her time to, and probably, changed her mind on him, and another coward man that didn't know how to deal with his emotions and his feelings. Because that's what usually happens in this situation. A lot of people don't know how to deal with rejection, and unfortunately then they hurt the person you know Hey, Corey, happy Friday. Sorry I missed you. I don't know if you're still here, but hello. Happy Friday, happy Friday. But yeah, it's probably another coward that doesn't know how to deal with their emotions. Okay, Corey, safe travels, drive safely. But yeah, she was beautiful, MMG. She was very beautiful, and we need to remember the person. And I really hope Frasia's family gets the justice that they deserve. Nobody deserves to lose a life. And if these people, I'm not going to say just men, but people really need to get the help that they need. If you know you cannot deal with your emotions, get help. You know, not everybody's going to like you, and that's okay. Love yourself, like yourself, you know, move on. There's plenty of freaking fish in the sea. You might have to go through 100 fish to get to the one that's meant for you, but you'll find that person. You don't let rejection be the end of someone else's life and yours, because although you're still in the land of the living, your life is ending now because you ended someone else's life over being rejected. Rejected. Hey, BFF, welcome in. Thanks for passing through. I'm talking about Frezja Baker. She was a mother from Charlotte that unfortunately she went missing, and unfortunately she was found yesterday inside her car, and she was deceased. Please double tap the screen, guys. Double tap the screen. I will be keeping an eye on any updates for this case, because I know, like K Money just said, what happened to her? All we know right now is that she was found deceased in her car behind a church. That's all we know right now. Unfortunately, she told her brother that she was on her way home, that she would be home in an hour because her child was in her parents' house. But unfortunately, she never made it home. She never made it home. This beautiful mother of one never made it home that night. And she wasn't found until almost a week later after being reported missing. Almost a week, her family had to deal with not knowing where their daughter was, where their sister was, where their mother was. And 2 weeks before Christmas, the holidays will never be the same for this family. So this case just opens up such a painful conversation about women's safety. How many of us actually share our location? How many of us text when we are on our way home, when we get home? Avoid certain routes. Why is simply driving home something women have to plan around? You know, do you ladies that drive home from work or whatever, do you have any safety habits that you use every day that you wish you didn't have to? Yeah, BFF is sorry. Yeah, I mean it's sad. Yes, K Money. It's sad to hear, and yeah. Well, this wasn't my family member, but she is, this is a trending topic right now. This topic is in the news. The incident is in the news right now. And I just wanted to make it aware, she is a person. So I want people to be aware and be aware for their safety. If you're on your way to work and somebody that you're, seeing or into it calls you arguing and wants to meet you, don't meet them because you never know. You just never know. You never know what that person's gonna do, especially if maybe you're trying to leave them and not talk to them anymore, even if you weren't in a relationship. The best thing to do is keep it moving. Keep it moving. And if you are going to meet them, you better meet them in a public space, you know? Meet them in a mall. Don't let them, go to your car. Don't let them even sit in your car if you guys are having an argument and it's nighttime on top of that. Because remember, I did say that she called her brother at 10:30 p.m. So it was nighttime. So us as women, we have to be more cautious, especially when we're trying to break it off with somebody, because that could be, the last phone call we make. That could be our last argument. Sorry, I'm muting it because of sirens. And then they're taking forever to pass through. It's like there must be traffic outside. Yeah, so I think it's, I'm the type that I'm not the type that likes to, give my location to people, because sometimes you just want to be off the grid, you know what I'm saying? And you don't want people to be freaking tracking you. But I've been seeing more and more and more and more and more how important, giving at least one person your location, you know, so they can, at least if you do go missing, so at least one person knows your whereabouts and where they could find you, to help the authorities if need be. Usually, like I said, I'm to myself. I don't like people knowing my business, especially when I was the type to date and stuff like that, which that was probably wrong of me too. I wouldn't want nobody to know my business. Literally nobody. Sometimes not even my friends. Not even my best friends. But in this day and age, I'm seeing more and more that it's important to give somebody your location, you know? Somebody. But yeah, so my heart keeps coming back to her child, During the holidays will never be the same. This Christmas is not going to be the same. A child will now have to grow up without a mother, will grow up with questions, you know? And that's why the truth matters when it comes to justice. And I really hope that Frezja Baker gets the justice that she needs, that she deserves, that her family deserves. If anyone watching knows anything, even something that feels small, please contact the CMPD or Crime Stoppers at 704-334-1600. Again, this did happen in Charlotte, North Carolina. So if anyone knows anything or seen anything small, please call 704-334-1600. We need the authorities to know exactly what happened to Frezja, why she was found deceased in her own car, what happened that night. What happened that night? One detail can change everything. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate that. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. And as always, you guys know I'm not monetized. So please, if you would like to send a donation to my channel, please Cash App BX Queen C. BXQUEENC. Thank you so much. But I just want to say this to anyone new here. I cover stories like this because these people deserve to be remembered with dignity. Because silence helps harm and awareness helps justice. If you value content that's thoughtful, respectful, and just rooted in the truth and humanity, I invite you to please subscribe. Not for numbers, but so that we can keep showing up for stories that matter. So I can let everybody know and be aware of the things that matter. And as I always say, mental health matters. If you are feeling a certain way, please reach out to somebody that you can talk to. Get professional help if need be. Please learn how to deal with your emotions. I know sometimes it's not easy, rejection is not easy, but please learn how to deal with those feelings because I know they can be very strong and it can be overwhelming, especially if you like somebody and they don't like you back. But that's life. Trust me that you will find somebody that likes you just as much. So let's take a moment to honor Frezja Baker. Guys could drop some prayer hands, some candle emojis, whatever you think, some hearts, just, for Frezja Baker. So Frezja Baker mattered. Her life mattered. Her name matters, and I pray for her family's strength during this difficult time. And I hope that we find out who did this to this beautiful, beautiful mother. And I will keep you guys updated on this, of course. So thank you for being here, everybody that passed through. Thank you so much for listening and, you know, for holding this space with me. Please share so we can make everybody aware of what happened. When it comes to minorities, these kind of cases do not, you know, are not known of. They don't spread throughout, the country or whatever, because they really don't, they keep it under wraps a lot. So let's, help that change. So thank you. Hug your loved ones tonight. Stay aware. You might want to share your notification with someone you love just in case, you know, and stay safe. So thank you, everybody. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Of course, if you can, donate to the channel. I also have an Amazon gift list for Jackson, my son Jordan, and myself. If anyone would like to purchase anything from that list, is greatly appreciated. And you will find the link on my community wall. But thank you so much, and I hope everybody has a great Friday. Yeah, and good night.